Bem-vindos à volta a Portimão. As we always say in this case, welcome back to Portimão, to the Autódromo Internacional Algarve for the last race of the day in the Spanish Winter Championship. It is time for the E4 sprint race. So we have a reverse grid, we have a shorter time for racing, but we also have, hopefully, a cleaner race than what we had earlier on today. I'm sure drivers will have been told by their teams, you know, keep it safe, take it easy. It's important to recover positions, to gain positions, to defend, to attack, but it is more important to keep the car on track. And that is what the teams will have told the drivers, that is what the drivers will have heard, and that is what we will be hoping to see on the track when the action finally goes green. And although I may be perhaps being a little bit naive, a little bit optimistic, I think that maybe we have a chance to seeing a 20-minute full green flag race. Well, I certainly hope so for what will be our second race of the day here in Portimão. We are already seeing the cars doing their installation lap, running to the back of the grid, as it is always important. And just as we mentioned with Euro Cup 3, it is also important to remember that these drivers have a limited amount of tires, so some of them will have chosen to use some maybe old tires to keep some for tomorrow. We have a longer race tomorrow, we have a qualifying race still tomorrow as well, and so some of the teams will have decided to prioritize that Sunday to this shorter race, while others, maybe they will have seen an opportunity to use all 4 new tires, be aggressive, and try to get a nice result that will carry the momentum of the team forward into a nice Sunday. We are watching, as we said, the main straight as the teams are slowly making their way into the grid. Still no cars taking their spots. We do have the teams already waiting for their cars. Some of them are still leaving the garage right now. Others are quickly making the way through the Portuguese track, this total of 4,653 meters long of this track for the second race of the weekend. As we mentioned before, that will be a total of 36 drivers taking the start. We also have this reverse grid, important element to take into consideration, especially because there will be a change in the order compared to what we saw in race 1, even though technically the reverse grid is still taking into consideration the results from the qualifying one, but we have this partially reverse grid in the first top positions. So we are going to see a grid with Miguel Costa in that first place. Number 5 Brazilian driver will be starting from pole position ahead of Sacha Van Pat Bosch. But before we go on to check the grid, why don't we go to our friend, our companion, our faithful informant on the grid, Miguel Portillo. How do you see things? I can see that there's a little bit of wind right now in the main straight.
Super gusty, increasing. Is gonna make the race 2, this is a sprint race, also tougher than the very first one because drivers are feeling it. Much of them top hill. When the roller coaster goes up is where you can feel the wind. The more you can feel in that part of the circuit. Hi everybody, hello Alex. We're going to enjoy this race that's about to start. All the grids rolling in. We are in front of the car of Noah Porteiro. He's coming in, the guy who is driving with Campos in his home track, the Portuguese star. He's pushing, and all his families are here trying to make him smile and try to give him all the support for this sprint race that is about to start. We're feeling that also the tires are going to be important for this race because the temperature, Alex, is dropping.
Yes, and that will be important because, as we often talk, one of the most important elements in motorsport is the use of the tires. And if the temperature drops, that means that the consumption, the use of the tires is going to be different. The degradation might change. It might be lower than we have seen in the races so far. And so this might allow some drivers to use maybe old tires without it being a problem. Who knows? So we have these two elements to keep in mind. Temperature, which is dropping, and the wind, which is increasing. Miguel Portillo, do you have a potential job as a weatherman? Because I can see that you are paying attention to the weather, which I love, because these are the elements, I think, that make racing an element that changes from race to race.
You cannot imagine how the clouds are moving around the track. It's unbelievable. So the wind is kicking a lot. I don't know if there are some clouds with some rain coming in, but I will take a look at it because everything can happen suddenly. The cars are coming in. We are looking at the tires. Most of them, the guys who are in front are going to try to attack for this 20 minutes plus one lap. And I don't know what the guys who are going to try to reach the podium, what are they going to do? Noah got the new tires on the right side and on the left side. And let's see if he got the possibility to jump into the podium. We want to see the Portuguese flag on it. Yesterday, Alex, they were taken to the drivers. If they want to warm up the tires, they can only use the 50% of the track. So you cannot move line to line. You have to warm only the 50%. Try to avoid any contact. So that's very important to warm up the tire. And we see before the race start, they can only use the 50% of the track.
That is correct. And we are seeing right now, leaning into the cockpit, that is Tiago Monteiro himself, the former Formula One driver from Portugal. He's a former podium finisher in Formula One in that infamous United States Grand Prix 2005, where the Michelin tires did not take part in the race, and he was able, on his Jordan, to finish third behind the two Ferraris. Right now, he is helping his son, using all that experience in Formula One, in endurance racing, in touring car racing, where he was recently racing in the WTCR, in the TCR World Tour as well. And thank you as well very much to our friend on the pit lane, Miguel Portillo, who is always giving us the latest information as we follow what these drivers and teams are doing to prepare themselves for the last race of the weekend. As Miguel Portillo was saying, they can weave to heat up the tires, but they cannot use the whole of the track. It would be perhaps a little bit too much. It is also a very, very wide track. It is 18 meters wide, so in many points they can just be careful with it. And it's still enough to bring up the temperature as much as they need. They also need to take care of the temperature of the brakes, since that is important, especially for turn 3 and a little bit further down the line into turn 5, where they might need that extra braking power if they are to try and get overtakes done. And as we were saying, time to check the starting order. We will have Miguel Costa starting from first place, ahead of Sasha Bantat-Bosch, with Fiorentino in third place, Monteiro fourth, looking to, hopefully for him, get a podium finish at home, ahead of El Fegali closing that round, running up that top 5, with Eijkmans, Prizowski, Strauben, Petrovic and Tai finishing that top 10, with Riba, Cantan, Panetta, Stephen Hayden, Spina, Saufler, Lammer, Strappa, Frankot, Bastarrica closing the top 20, followed by Jacobi, Carras, Dobrazanski, Cugnon, Suslov, Lee, Carras, Campos, Nobels, Felbermeyer, Bloch, Schwarz, Ogunovic, Anagnostiadis, Monarca, and Garduño. So we have those 36 drivers ready for this last race of the day, and the teams are already going back to their garage. Watching right now, this is Carras' machine. In this case, we are watching Jean-Paul Carras. Let's remember that there is, of course, also Philippe Armand Carras, but that was Jules. Jean-Paul. Apologies for the name confusion. As we watch the medical car as well, getting prepared, because in just a few seconds we will have the formation lap being on and ongoing as we watch the cars starting to do that traditional weaving, going from side to side. As Miguel Portillo was reminding us, they cannot use the whole circuit, so they need to stick to one half of it. And good point now as well to remember that Miguel Costa is a driver who comes with a very, very good track record in karting, and so he should be a name to keep an eye on. He has been a candidate for the win so far. He was on the points in the 3 races in Jerez, with a 6th place in the sprint race and 2 9ths on the 2 feature races. And so starting from 1st place today in the shorter of the 3 races of the weekend, he might have a chance to put on a nice show. This is Macedo from Eurocup 3, and as we suspected that there might be something going on with his wrist, and I am certainly hoping that his body, his hand, his wrist will be okay for tomorrow, because we definitely don't want him to miss the second race, second feature race. Getting into the final sector, watching Miguel Costa getting ready to stand on the grid, and mechanics find any good stepping stone, be it a tire, be it a tool, to get a good vantage point to watch the drivers do the thing. Nobody wants to miss the start, and we know that by regulation the amount of people that can stand on the pit lane, the pit wall, is limited. So this is why we do not have all the mechanics standing on the pit wall for the race start. Only those that can actually fit on the team stands are allowed there at that point. The Rodden Motorsport guys watching on from the garage as well. Their first driver is Nathan Tai, starting from 10th place. We know that Nathan Tai is a driver who is good slicing through the field, and so if he has a good start, he could potentially have a good recovery race. We're watching the back of the field getting to the main straight and trying to get the maximum amount of temperature. That is the advantage, if we can call it that, of the drivers who are starting from the last few positions. They can heat up the tires until the very last moment. Meanwhile, those who start from the front need to wait while the rest of the grid sets into position. This is why often we see some drivers who delay things a little bit more, just to have a little bit of an advantage over the rivals ahead. Green flag at the end, and so once the red lights are turned off, we will have the race starting. So 3, 4, 5 lights, and it's lights out, and the race is ongoing. We have a good start by Miguel Costa, but it is even better by Sacha Van Padbosch, who takes 1st place and is going to stand into 1st position right now. But Costa tries to keep that outside line. It might be enough to keep that 1st place after all. It will be tight, and it is a side-by-side by these two drivers, but we have a spin, and I'm not sure if there has been some contact or if it has been just a mistake by the driver himself. This was number 23, Jan Brzozowski, who has a nightmare start to the sprint race. Meanwhile, the fight for the lead continues, and it's still side by side by these two drivers, Sacha Van Padbosch, Miguel Costa. They don't give any of them, and there is contact between them. There is contact between the two drivers on the lead of the race, and I think that Sacha Van Padbosch out of the track, and that is definitely not what we were expecting. The leader of the race, who is out of contention, I think that is a damaged suspension and the car is definitely stuck on the gravel. That is going to be not just a yellow flag, but I am sure a safety car as well. Well, that was quick, wasn't it? Very first lap, and we have a neutralized race already. And of course, all of this means that Miguel Costa had to yield his first place to none other than number 37, Filippo Fiorentino, the Brazilian driver who takes the lead of the race just in time to get a safety car neutralization. Well, we're going towards the replay and we're going to see exactly what happened between these two. We were seeing how at the start, yep, that was the contact between the two of them. Sasha Van Bosch, he had started better. Miguel Costa tried to keep that outside line, and they were, for at least half a lap, they were driving side by side, the two of them, until that side by side turned into something a little bit closer than it ought to have been. Well, that is unfortunate for the Technicar driver. The Technicar by AMTOG were very, very looking forward to this race. They had a good chance at racing, at winning perhaps. And now it's all gone down the drain. And yes, some teams and some drivers will say we can go back tomorrow. But this is still an opportunity missed by a team that needed that momentum, that needed that chance to be able to be on top. And the towing truck is already taking care of that number 6 machine. And what a shame that we are once again with the safety car on track, but more than anything, that we are missing the chance to see that fight. And this is the disappointment of the Technicar team. I can guarantee that they were looking forward to seeing what the driver was capable of doing. This is not the first time that they have been in contention this year, and this is not the first time that they have been left with a disappointment. I remember in Jerez how we saw Petrovic fighting for a podium that in the end did not manifest. In fact, it is Petrovic who is now the highest placed Technicar driver, currently in 6th, so he may have a possibility of giving his team a consolation prize. Well, he will try, that's for sure. And what is clear is that we are still under safety car conditions. And so the race is still under that neutralized state. And I think we may have, if we are lucky, just one more lap. We are watching now Nathan Tai, car number 46, once again lacking in fortune what he has in speed. Nathan Tai back into the pit lane. He has definitely been quick this year, and he has definitely been unlucky this year. I look forward to the day where Nathan Tai has a weekend with no bad luck, because he may be one of the potential winners that we have in this series. For now though, that's a new nose cone and back to the back of the grid, and he will have to do a lot of work if he wants to get even remotely close to the points paying positions. And even then, that looks extremely tricky. He would have to overtake more than 20 drivers if he wants to get there. Well, whatever he can do is a good way of showing his speed. It's either that or not getting in trouble and having more tires for Sunday. That is something that the team will have to decide, that the team will have to let him know, because sometimes fighting is not the best option. We're watching the Monlau team, a squad known by their work with young engineers, young mechanics, often students from their own grassroots programs. Some programs that have taken some of their graduates into the elite of motorsport in WRC, in Formula One, and of course in two-wheel racing as well. But for now, we go back to the present, we go back to the feeder series, we go back to grassroots single-seater racing, and we go back to green flag, where Miguel Costa is trying to draft Filippo Fiorentino. It's side by side with the two of them, and Thomas Stroven tries to find that spot. Miguel Costa is pushing the things at the head. He's trying to find that spot. He's trying to find that place that will allow him to get into first place. It looks complicated, and it is Petrovic, I think, that is braking very, very late, trying to bring back hope for his team. And we're going to soon be watching the group coming into turn 5, and that almost 3-side into that hairpin. Fiorentino keeps that first place ahead of Costa and Stroven. Costa and Stroven side by side, the two Campos drivers. Very, very, very close. And it's 2? No, it's 3. They can make it. And there's no contact yet. The two Campos drivers not giving an inch to each other. And Fiorentino making use of that chance to stay afloat, to stay ahead, to stay first. My goodness, things are tense up there. The DriveX driver goes a little bit wide. That's giving a chance to his rivals, but he manages to stay ahead by the minimum possible difference. And that's allowing Monteiro as well. He wants to join the party. He's knocking on the door and he's saying, well, I knock on the door because it's my home and I deserve to get in there. And he is getting in there. There he goes, the Portuguese driver, going on the offensive, going into the inside. But we have Stephen Haydens and El Fegali behind. Nobody's giving an inch. Nobody's giving up this fight. And we have 11 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock. And everything is still to fight for. Fiorentino ahead. He's defending that first place well. Oh, that was spicy. That was spicy. Monteiro having to defend from Stephen Haydens, who overtakes him without much challenge. And we have El Fegali as well. Oh, and there's been a contact there. There's been contact there. I'm not sure yet which car. All cars are there. But we see one of the cars. I think that's the lead car. That might be the lead car. And it is. We are seeing another huge surprise. We were seeing what we were not expecting. Filippo Fiorentino, who was leading the race, is now back into last position. My God, that was not expected. The Brazilian driver suddenly finds himself out of contention as well, and that allows Miguel Costa to get back into first place. Thomas Stroven second, Stephen Haydens in third, El Fegali fourth, and Franco in first place. Monteiro, who has been demoted to 6th. And this race is definitely determined to continue to give us a bit of a show. The fight for 4th, and Fegali and Franco behind. Number 33 against number 11. Franco going around the outside, and I think he has it. He will have to try and keep that momentum, because El Fegali has the inside, and that will be the quicker line through the last corner. But he may be able to do a side draft. He is trying. Oh, he goes on the behind draft. That might be enough of a toe to go into the first corner with a good chance of overtake. Goes on the inside. Franco does it and goes into 4th position briefly before going wide and allowing El Fegali to recover that 4th place. It's a continuous position exchange between the two of them. That was great to watch. And Strauben is pushing as well his teammate. The Campos Racing versus the Griffin Co. by Campos. Two different Campos teams fighting for that first position. It is second race of the weekend, the sprint race, the shorter race of the weekend. The duel continues between El Fagali and Franco. Cantan pushing now, joining the fray. And well, there is a spin by number 35. That is the car of Ivan Agnostiadis, the Australian driver from Cram Motorsport. The action is non-stop here in Portugal. And we continue to see this challenging group chasing after the podium placing positions. And we do have a safety car. I'm not sure if this is for an Agnostiadis or... Nope, that would be the answer. We are seeing rather, the Q-Ho Lee Rodin Motorsport machine, which is stranded and stuck in the gravel. So that is a second safety car period. So unfortunately, that is another neutralization that we're going to have now. And I am not sure how much time we might have after the car is recovered. I should think that the race is going to be restarted, but the question is, how many minutes will we have at that point? Well, if there is one thing that these drivers are training, it is restarts. That is for sure. So we are watching now car number 1 by Hudson Schwartz, the American driver. Number 1 by MP Motorsport, who is back into the pit lane, back into the... Oh, another problem. And this is car 77. So we're talking about Andrei Petrovic. So more troubles for the Technicar team. And it might be related to this damage that we've seen in Schwartz's car. Well, action is definitely ongoing. Miguel Portillo from the pit lane. What can you tell us?
Sacha has arrived to the walls. All the colleagues and all the team saying he's sorry because he's out of the race early. We'll say early drop off the race. He was fighting for the leader, so that's what happened when you're going outside. I mean, when you're fighting around in the outside, the guy who is inside line, if he open his elbows, puts you out and you can do nothing at all. So early finish for the driver from Technicar. We hope he can have a lucky more day tomorrow. And also I can say the track limits, everybody's watching at it because there's one driver, Riva, he's just about to have a penalty for that. He's 4 track limits, so next one it will be added 5 seconds to the end of the race, or maybe he could have a penalty. So take a look, minutes just for the end of the race.
Thank you very much, Miguel Portillo, bringing us the latest news from the pit lane. And as he mentions, it is important to keep those eyes on the track limits, because we know that those things can sometimes alter the results. And well, that is not a setting that you want to have in your car. Of course, we are making a joke, because that is a very damaged rear right suspension. Well, we were seeing also the replay on what happened there. That was what caused the safety car outing this time. And going back to what Miguel Portillo was mentioning, track limits, always important in these categories. Drivers need to learn that they cannot exceed those track limits too many occasions, because then what you get is lost time, not gained time. That should be, if I'm not mistaken, the last lap under the safety car, as we watch the Technicar team members checking that damaged rear right section of the car. And this is not the best way to finish a race, definitely, especially not when you are in a points-paying position and you are in contact with another car. 3 minutes 33 and counting down is the time that we have left on the clock. I think that we should be relaunching the race as we get into the main straight. That should give us enough time for, I theorize, 3 more racing laps if nothing else happens, which we are hoping. I'm seeing one of the Drivex cars without a front wing, so that won't be ideal as well. And there is still a safety car, so yes, that will be the relaunching finally with those under 3 minutes to go. So as we are saying, we are looking at 3 more racing laps. The safety car is back into the pit lane, and that will mean that it's time for our race leader to manage this final, hopefully, restart of the race. Miguel Costa, by Campos Racing, leaving the race and finding the best moment to press the accelerator, and he does this at this moment to try and get away from his rivals, of which he has many. Costa, Strauben, Stephen Haydens, 1, 2, 3 going on the straight. And behind them, El Fegali, Franco Cantan, Monteiro, Spinatrapa, Schaufler. Nobody wants to lose any tenth of a second. And it's side by side from these 2 drivers. Costa and Strauben both want to win. Both know that they can win, but only one can do it. Let's see who is it that does it. Strauben was perhaps a little bit too aggressive. That allowed Costa to keep that first place. Stephen Haydens behind, waiting to see what happens. Waiting to see if he can make or take advantage of any duel that these 2 are going to tie. And then Strauben launches into the inside, and both of them are side by side. Look at Stephen Haydens. He knew that this could happen, and he's trying to go on the inside. We have a 3 wide going out of this corner. That is amazing, and I'm not sure if the 3 of them can make it out of this place. But they do. And it's Stephen Haydens who is on the outside of Strauben, and Costa still keeps his first place. This is impressive. Stephen Haydens keeps it up, and he keeps it up. But El Fegali wants to join the party, and he does it just as he wants to. Up into 3rd place, but Strauben defends. El Fegali goes around the outside, he tries it. But be careful, Stephen Haydens hasn't given up. We still have 2 more laps once we go on the main straight. Costa has it difficult. Stephen Haydens wants to win. But Strauben, El Fegali, Monteiro is recovering as well. The hope of a podium finish at home has not yet vanished completely. We are seeing the white machine of the Portuguese getting closer and closer and closer to the Red Bull liveried car ahead of him. Who knows? He's the 3rd rookie so far. He could be the 3rd in the race. Stephen Haydens overtaken by Strauben, who launches ahead, and he takes 1st place. Wow, jumping! Miguel Costa making a little bit of a show. Is this Ye4 or is this monster jump? I am not sure sometimes. And we have a side-by-side going up the hill as well. Strauben, Stephen Haydens, Costa, El Fegali. I'm not even sure who can come out on top. So far it's Strauben. And now we have Stephen Haydens and Costa parallel. We have El Fegali trying to wait for a chance. A chance that may come now because Stephen Haydens is going wide. Careful with that. Costa takes 3rd place. He's still 3rd. And he tries to outbrake his rival. Not enough though. And now Monteiro coming from behind. He is not scared by that Red Bull livery. Rather, he is motivated to attack. As he's motivated, El Fegali. He lunges ahead. Overtakes Costa. He takes 3rd place. He's doing a very, very good job this weekend. And Strauben still continues ahead. 1.5 seconds might be enough ahead of the last lap. And we are still watching that first group. This has been pretty impressive to see. All these drivers, we were sometimes accusing them a little bit of being maybe too eager, maybe too impatient, maybe too uncontrolled, but they are showing that they can do it as well. And what they've shown now was a great display of racing. The easiest thing would have been to contact with a rival, to crash, to spin, and nobody did it now. Monteiro now has to deal with Cantan, another rookie. And it's Cantan who comes out on top for now. Franco, then Spina, and Lammers, and Panetta, and Soffler. All of these drivers are coming behind, closer and closer. They want the points. Strauben is free to fly ahead, but Stephen Haydens is getting closer. Oh, that was an aggressive launch from Spina. That was not enough to overtake Franco, but he would have tried. Strauben leading clearly. He knows that he can do it because he has done it. He has done it before. He has done it this morning. He knows what it takes to win. And I think that he has it. Of course, it is almost a 2-second advantage. And a 2-second advantage is a perfect advantage to tackle the last lap. A perfect advantage to tackle the last few corners. I'll be honest, folks, I would not have bet for Thomas Strauben just a few laps ago. And he showed that if you want a race win, what you have to do is go. Stretch your hands, stretch your arms, open your fingers, and grasp it. And he has done just that. Thomas Strauben takes the second win of the weekend. And that was amazing. That was incredible to watch. Beating everyone who stood in his way and accompanied in the podium by Stephen Haydens and El Fegali. That was a fantastic bit of racing. I would say that E4 has redeemed itself after a very, very, very full of safety car race one earlier today. That was much, much better. So this is a double win by Thomas Strauben, showing that he is having the perfect weekend so far. And this is possibly the most difficult thing to do, because if you win race one, it is not usual to be able to win the sprint race. And he has. Now I wonder, will he be able to make it a 3 out of 3 tomorrow? Well, I hope if our friend on the pit lane, Miguel Portillo, is listening to us, I hope that he's going to ask him, because that is the answer I want to hear. Thomas, are you planning to take a 3 out of 3 tomorrow? Well, I wonder what he would say to that. I am sure he would say that he's willing to go for it. But that was seriously impressive. We saw a great, great, great fight between these teams, the usual suspects, Campos, MP Motorsport, and Rivex, the teams that are usually at the top here in E4 or Spanish Formula 4 Championship once the regular season starts. So in many senses, nothing changes, but because nothing changes, everything changes when the drivers are the ones to make the difference. And so, we are seeing number 99, no one with a higher car number than him, no one with a better result this weekend. And this is perhaps the only mistake of the weekend so far, hitting the number 1 plate. And 2 out of 2, there we go, that is the celebration. Thomas Strauben wins again, and it's time to celebrate it with his people. Well, aren't they just the happiest of champions? That was mighty impressive. Mighty impressive. It was not just about speed, it was also about opportunism. It was about being clear in what you want, in attacking when you have to attack, and in being smart. All of those are good traits for a racing driver to have. And I say, nobody has had them more than Thomas Strauben today. Some might say, well, you didn't have to fight hard this morning to get the win. Well, now he did. Now he definitely did. And as we wait for our man on the field
Let's go.
to talk to our race winner, there we go. Miguel Portillo, the floor is yours. Talk to our race winner, Thomas Strauben.
Unbelievable, he did it. Thomas, again, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was such a good race. Starting in P8 and yeah, after the start already in P3, then the most chaotic race I ever had with the defending, and yeah, then I made a double overtake into T1, which was the race win. So yeah.
We saw you like side by side, was unbelievable. What about your race? Be patient, take it easy because in front of you all was battling.
Yeah, it was really hard in the beginning to avoid all the crashes because there were a lot of crashes. But yeah, just wait for the right moment and then go for it. And yeah, then we also went for the fastest lap and we did it. So.
And now we want more. Are you ready for the full house 3 winning also tomorrow?
Yeah, I hope so. We will do our best in qualifying tomorrow, obviously, and see what we can do tomorrow morning.
What a week, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miguel Portillo. Clearly listening to our request, clearly listening to what we wanted to hear from the race winner, Thomas Strauben, who also said it, we wanted to go for the fast lap, and we did it. And he wants the full house tomorrow. Of course he does, wouldn't he? If I were in his position, I would definitely aim for that. Well, that was a pretty amazing, incredibly fun race. Miguel Portillo, what did you think? Did you enjoy the second race of the weekend? That was much better than the first, wasn't it?
Unbelievable, much better. It's a race that you have to be super focused in it and try to find your slot, your pace, and let the other drivers just to fight in and just wait for your moment. That's what he did. That's the driver who impressed me, that the ones who doing the race don't care about the others and just go. And if the leader goes out, I found my way to go in. And also impressed with the very first guy from Red Bull, El Fagali, who also joined the podium. So I think he's doing super great. He couldn't fight for the victory, but being on the third position for this race is a good one. So great recovery for the guys who was coming from behind. Super impressed for this reverse grid. I really love it. And tomorrow more.
More to come tomorrow then. Miguel Portillo, thank you very much for your job today. And we'll meet tomorrow with 2 more fantastic, hopefully just as exciting races as we've seen today, as we are seeing some of the highlights of this last race of the day, the second race of the weekend for the E4, the sprint race. It could have been short, it could have been marred by the presence of the safety car, but it was rather exciting, even with 2 safety car presences. The drivers gave it their all, and they showed us a good show, which is all that we can ask from this kind of racing. But don't go too far yet, because we still have our race podium to enjoy and to watch this second win from Thomas Strauben being celebrated as it ought to be done. And it is hard to imagine that the day started with some rain here in Portugal, with some wet weather, with some wet tires, with those puddles in the first race in the morning. And now the sun is shining, and some smiles, I think, are shining brighter than others. We are seeing these extremely exciting fights until the end. And again, Thomas Strauben showed that he has what it takes to be fighting. Why not? Not just for the full house, maybe even for the Spanish Winter Championship title. He could do it. He's making good use of his experience, and he could be the perfect candidate to do it. He will have a chance tomorrow, and after that, he will have a chance in just a few weeks' time in Navarra, where the Spanish Winter Championship will reach the end of the E4 category, which, as we said before, will run its last event separate from the Eurocup 3. The celebrations continue in the pit lane, as they are sure to continue throughout this afternoon after 2 race wins by the Griffin Cobay Campos driver, who was definitely very happy with this result. Not just because of the points that he takes, but because of what it means for him as a driver to have earned them in such a manner. And just as we saw a double Belgian podium on race 1 this morning, we see a double Belgian podium on the sprint race this afternoon. So Thomas Strauben, who will finish this, has finished this race in first place, will be accompanied by Yanni Steven Haydens, who was maybe not so lucky on the first race of the day, but he can redeem himself with that second place ahead of Christopher Elfegali, who will be back on the podium and again bringing that number 33 Red Bull liveried car. We know that you do enjoy that joke, that number 33, which is not belonging to a certain Dutchman, but he is achieving almost as many good results with this third place. And so we are seeing these 3 drivers on the podium. 2 drivers therefore repeating their presence in the top 3, and well, they will want to go back to it tomorrow. But first of all, we will make sure to enjoy those last few moments with them, with these 3 drivers who have definitely earned their position on the black wooden box, because they have been not just the quickest, not just the bravest, not just the smartest, but they have been the most opportunistic in certain moments where the easiest result was to be out of the race. Once again, we are waiting for these top 3 drivers to get out on the podium, because it's time to celebrate with each other, with their teams, to receive the trophies. Of course, this is the goal of any driver. They come here to get those much wanted pieces of silverware to add to their own collection. And I can guarantee that these drivers might only be in E4, just starting their careers in motor racing. But I can tell you that after all their years in karting, they already have great collections of trophies back at home. And we are still waiting for these 3 young men to go out on the podium. Just a small, slightest bit of delay. And soon we will have them going out for us. As fast as they were on the race, I think that they are taking it easy now. Come on, boys, we want to see you. Or maybe we have to give them a small penalty for being late. I don't know. I think if we ask that... There we go. They heard the word penalty and they were motivated to start going out. First of all, team representative from Griffin Core by Campos. And Christopher Elfegali, third place. The Red Bull Junior team driver, Yanni Steven Haydens, in second place. Great second race after the bad luck in race 1. And of course, the double winner for today, Thomas Strauben, 2 out of 2 and going for full house tomorrow. And in his honor, we will listen to the Belgian national anthem. And so, after listening to the Belgian national anthem, it's time to hand out the silverware. And it's time for the teams and the drivers to receive those trophies that they have so eagerly been wanting. Although I was wondering if they were actually wanting them, because they took a little bit longer to come out to pick them up. So I don't know. We will have to ask them. Christopher Fegali receiving that trophy for a third place. For today, we have Yanni Steven Haydens taking that second place trophy. And of course, our man of the day, and I think man of the weekend, no matter what happens tomorrow, that's Thomas Strauben with a 2 out of 2 celebrating for sure. And now it will be time to enjoy the sparkling. First of all, though, as we like to say, it's picture for the album. See, Mom, I won that day. Yes, you did. That's the win by Thomas Rowan. And once the picture is done, it's time to see who can drench each other harder. Come on, come on. We want to see the celebrations. Will he copy the strategy from this morning? Bumping bottle. Well, I can see El Fagari going down. And we have the two Belgians celebrating with each other. We know that they get along well. And so this is the podium celebration to finish today. That was a day full of excitement. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to more races tomorrow. We have two more. Feature race number 2 for Eurocup 3 and for E4. So we definitely wait for you tomorrow here. We hope that you join us tomorrow, because we know this is the Autódromo Internacional Algarve. We know that this is normal here, but precisely because it's normal, we want you to join us again. We want you to come with us. We want you to enjoy 2 more races, because I'm sure that we're going to have fun. So for now, time to take a breath, time to rest, time to take stock of the situation, but join us tomorrow, because I guarantee there's more action waiting for you. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they